A project about the CSR in the cocoa industry, where we saw 2 movies, and the subject in this project is English and business economics. And we are Anton, Fleder, and Thomas. And this is the table of contact, and first we're going to talk about the 2 movies, Chokoladens mørke side and Lyssky chokolade, and then the CSR and the code of conduct.
70% of the world's cocoa beans are produced by the Ivory Coast. The cocoa is produced primarily by child labor. Child labor shouldn't be possible, as all big chocolate manufacturers have signed up to work without child labor. There are many rumors that children from Mali being smuggled to the Ivory Coast to make child labor. One of those at the bus station in Mali admits it all. There are children as young as 70 years old. There are often transported 10 to 15 children at a time. The children are often 12 to 15 years old when they are sold to child labor. They are sorted children every day through a back road which is not official and there's no police. It can be very dangerous to dig into child labor, as the people who owned and advocates of the child labor will use all means to get removed. Example, kidnapping. Azerbaijan is the main location for the largest chocolate manufacturers. 7 kroner each kilo of the cocoa, then sold cocoa for 14 kroner per kilo, and the last will be made about 40 chocolate bars for 1 kilogram cocoa, which are then sold for anywhere between 5 and 40 kroner. That depends on the quality. People who own these places where they're using child labor is of course entitled to nothing goes illegal child labor. The price is about 1,1600 kroner buying a child, and that's without debate. Most children are promised money, but they never get paid. There are many who try to escape, but that not all that are able to escape. If the police discovers something, they would sell the children into the houses where the police don't have access. The children are questioned if the police finds them. 44 million have been spent on the child labor, therefore to process it. But it does not seem to have helped much. Chocolate manufacturers do not believe that it's their problem that there is child labor, since it's not their business or something. They just get beans from them.
Summary about the second movie. For 3 years ago, in the first movie, he discovered all the child trafficking, and he also discovered how they use children as slaves in the cocoa industry, and how bad conditions they have. All the big cocoa companies then started to make many ads about the problems were fixed in the Ivory Coast, and now all the children was at school and none on the cocoa fields. But can we trust them? He tried to visit Nestle, the big company, but the first time they doesn't want to speak with him, and the second time they want to speak to him without cameras. At this meeting, he get a lot of reports of the work Nestle have done in the Ivory Coast, and he will try to visit them. But the only way he can film in the Ivory Coast is he get an invite from a chocolate firm, but none of the firms will give him an invite to Ivory Coast. So he has to take to Ghana, at the country next to Ivory Coast. In Ghana he has a friend called Orange, and he would like to help Mickey. Orange go to some of the projects from Nestle and others. Meanwhile, Mickey visit a local farm in Ghana. The first project Mickey's friends Orange visit is a school built by Caritas and ICI, and they have paid for it. But when Orange arrives, the school is totally undone and abandoned. Outside, kids was preparing the old school with machetes. They cut the grass around, and a child gets injured with a machete in his leg, and they paid for his medical treatment. And then Mickey in Ghana, he was speaking with a company called Source Trust, and there's a company that have all the information about the cocoa farms in Ghana, and they mean they can track all the cocoa sacks with the cocoa beans to the farm they've come from. But when Mickey said a test about they can find the sacks, they are struggling with it, and there are some problems with it. Yes. Ange visited a cocoa farm in Ivory Coast, and the very first person he meets is a kid, and the next person he meets again is also a kid. They can see that's a big problem. After Ange moved further away to a farm where Mars and some other chocolate companies, they have made a farm school. But the first thing Ange meets here is many challenges working with the cocoa. So it's no success in Ivory Coast. After that, Mickey go home again, and after Nissel hear about it, hear about the film he have made, they contact him and they want to hear about the projects in the Ivory Coast. After that, all the other companies like ECE wants to see the film also. We have a lot of meetings with the people from the companies, and all the representatives from the companies thinks it's terrible, but it's their fault, and they doesn't care about what they have done down there.
And then we have to talk about what CSR is. And CSR is a company's sense of responsibility towards the community and the environment. They do without any payment, and they do it by free will, both ecological and social, in which it operates. Companies express their citizenships through their waste of pollution reduces processes, where they show their respect to the environment and contribute with educational and social programs. And even though CSR is something the companies does voluntarily, the benefits from it can be huge if done right. And on the other hand, the damages, if done wrong or not at all, can be totally devastating for the company. Therefore, many huge companies use loads of resources to make the best possible CSR. They can both benefit from in terms of improved public relations and maybe even improve sale, because the people tend to support or psychology-like firms that have a good reputation in CSR more than the ones who do not use it. And what does the financial statement law say about CSR? It says that large companies like Nestle or others in that size order have to voluntary responsibility, both social and environmental, and they have to fight against child labor and corruption. And if the company choose not to have any politics about the social responsibility, that also have to be included in the management report they have to do annually. And the statement should include loads of information, but the primary is the company's politics for social responsibility and the guidelines that they use, and how they use their politics in terms of the actions.
Code of Conduct. The Code of Conduct is also called the 10 Principles, and it's about human rights, labor, the environment, and anti-corruption. It's a list all the companies in the United Nations Global Compact ask the companies to embrace, support, and enact these principles. And in the chocolate industry, it's the principle 5 that is the very big problem. And in principle 5, they say that companies have to stop the child labor and get rid of it.
And then we had to find a big firm who used this code of conduct, and we found Nestle, and we went to their own website, And we found some changes they made towards their code of conduct in 2013, and in total they have made 13 goals they would like to reach within 2020. And some of this was they want to reduce their total CO2 releases within 35% and make sure that their productions have nothing to do with children and no child labor. But they do not write much about child labor, and we believe they do not mention it because it gives a bad reputation for the firm if the customers know that they might use some child labor. And we actually think that some of the company only do CSR because they sort of have to. They don't do it to get results, just to use it for promotion or so they can say that they are a member of the UN Nations Global Compact. And the reason why we believe this is because they only use a very minor part of their resources to end these huge problems, as we saw in the film, such as the child labor, their rules in big areas in Africa.
And that's it.